Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Disruption Talks. And this is another episode of the ones that you've seen recently, which brings you closer to the recent events in the tech world. Last time we spoke about the cloud outage with our cloud lead engineer. This time we're going to take a slightly different approach. The approach concerns cybersecurity because ransomware and cybersecurity attacks is everything you're hearing recently about in the news, and not just recently, but actually over the couple past months with the US pipeline also being subject to a ransomware attack. But most recently, the REvil ransomware group has emerged as the world's most notorious in operation since 2018, my notes say. And the interesting thing here is that it's a business model. It's ransomware as a service. It's something that people can use, and REvil actually gets a cut from that. So we're no longer operating in a world of single predators or negative agents to your cybersecurity of the organization, but rather there are platforms for people to do that. And in the past month, it's extracted 11 million payment from a US subsidiary of the world's largest meatpacking company, demanded 5 million from a Brazilian medical diagnostics company, and most recently, most importantly, and what this episode will be about, it launched a large-scale attack on dozens and perhaps hundreds of companies that use IT management software from Kaseya. Joining us today is Maciej Markiewicz, our cybersecurity lead, to bring us closer to what happened, why it happened, and how can you make sure or just try to be a little bit safer? Hi, Maciej.
Hello, Philip. Nice to see you.
Here, great to have you here. A good start would be to have a personal intro because I know you, but I want the audience to know you as well. So give us a little bit backstory.
Sure, no problem. So basically, hello, everyone. I'm Maciej. I'm cybersecurity lead here in Netguru. And I'm basically responsible for three main areas: informational security of our internal processes and operational stuff, security of development process, so helping and consulting services for our clients, and commercial cybersecurity services, so all the other stuff related to the clients' projects and products.
Yeah. Okay. And you love cybersecurity on top of
Yeah, of course.
So what the hell happened? Like, explain like I'm five. You know I'm not a technological person, so give me the language of risks and consequences.
Yeah, sure. There was a lot of stuff there. So basically, it is considered few days, or maybe it is even 2 weeks ago, around the world, a few businesses went crazy because of some strange behavior of IT systems used by those businesses. What was happened? It was a ransomware attack caused by one single point of attack. So basically we have a lot of businesses targeted by the REvil group, used with very sophisticated attack, targeted from one point of one source. The source was placed in the Kaseya company, which is software provider who is the author and the provider of the software responsible for managing and monitoring IT ecosystem for small and medium businesses. And the whole thing was what I mentioned. It was very sophisticated attack because we had the group responsible for this attack used the vulnerability in the one software used by all those businesses around the world, and then attacked just only one point. But the result was that we currently have over 1,000 businesses around the world encrypted using the ransomware software. So the story here is like using one attack, we have very colossal results and colossal problem for around the world operators, for around the world businesses, and so on and so on. So very tricky, very sophisticated, as I said. Yeah, and currently we have a situation that all those businesses are encrypted. They cannot operate in the cannot operate, and the ransomware, the target, the group responsible for that is requesting 70 million ransom for publishing the decryptor to release the resources covered by the encryption and ransomware.
Okay.
So,
I mean, if it's 70 million per company or all of them, because if it's all
of them, so basically
it's just $50,000 per each. They just need to pool it.
Yes. That's the funny thing in that the fine or the ransom is not so high because of the scale of the problem. So if you take all the businesses and you will split the ransom, is not so high value, but still we have global scale problem for many businesses. So the ransom is not so high for the scale, but the question is, should they pay the ransom? Who should pay this ransom, and how to proceed with such situation with the global scale?
It's about the principle, right? Even if it's just $1, what matters is that the fact that someone did manage to encrypt your entire setup. And
yes, but the funny thing is that we have the software that was infected or used to prepare attack, the software that is provided by Kaseya, is used to monitor and manage the IT systems for businesses. So basically, this is this kind of tools are used to protect the companies against attacks, because you can monitor the situation and so on and so on. So basically, the whole attack was used using vulnerabilities in the software that should be used to protect somehow the IT infrastructures against the attacks and help companies to manage the IT infrastructure.
So what I'm hearing is cybersec attackers no longer target one by one. They get into a platform that is being used by many companies, and that's how they achieve this mass market scale. And this is also done as ransomware as a service, and then it's possible for the victims to crowdsource the funding for the ransom. Welcome to 2021.
Yeah, basically, yes. And the interesting thing is that this is not the first attack using this way. A few months ago, we had attack for a security service company. In this case, what was compromised, it was the SolarWinds software used to basically protect companies and help them protect against any kind of cyber threats. And again, we had a large-scale attack there, using attacking the very first point in this supply chain, and then spread the attack for other clients, other users of this software. So basically, this is well-known attack and is very effective, let's say.
just finishing on Cow Crazy 2021 is I remember that when there was the US coastal pipeline attack, also ransomware. I think it was done by DarkSide, not REvil. And I remember that the consequence of that was how they were criticized about attacking such important infrastructure elements. And after that, they released a code of ethics promising to not attack things like hospitals, foster homes with children, just generally saying, like, listen, we just want to make some money, but we don't want to be too bad. So absolutely.
Yeah. During the in the center of pandemic in 2020, there was a case that some kind of ransomware group attacked probably by coincidence attacked one of the hospitals. During the peak of the pandemic here in Europe, probably in Poland even. But there was something similar that the society criticized the whole thing, that who is so cruel to attack the hospital during global pandemic, and the company published the attacker published the decryptor to stop to avoid another escalation. So very interesting situation.
Yes, we have woke cyber criminals. I just love it. But let's dive back into this topic. So who are these guys that were behind this attack?
Yeah, basically, as you mentioned in the introduction, it is REvil group. I don't know how to correctly pronounce it, but it is ransomware REvil, the group, probably Russian-speaking ransomware group that is responsible for a few quite, let's say, impressive attacks recently. For example, JBS meat company a few weeks ago was attacked, and the company paid the ransom 11 million, something around $11 million for decrypting the data and the IT infrastructure. So it is pretty well-known group operating somewhere in the internet.
Okay, so I'm curious to understand, how did it all happen, apart from what you told me about the fact that they used Kaseya as the major platform to get fast market adoption, so to say, of their virus, but in a simple way to explain the tech behind it, what happened, and can this be fixed?
Yeah.
What's
yes.
in this?
Basically, first report said that it is probably the case that attackers injected malicious code into the software, and using the software update feature, it was spread around the world. But official statements from Kaseya said that it's not the case. They were not found the malicious code inside the software, but the attackers used the vulnerability to bypass the authentication feature in the software, and then they used existing feature. The existing feature to deploy the ransomware. So they use the feature allowed to execute arbitrary code, scripts, etc. inside the devices, computers used that have Kaseya software installed. So basically, they bypassed the authentication, and they use it predefined feature to deploy the ransomware on the user's infrastructure.
And releasing a patch, would that help? Or right now stuff's encrypted and maybe it can prevent anything in the future, but the problem still remains?
Yeah, basically the case is quite complicated, I can say, because the Kaseya currently is working to or they already deployed created the patches. I think during the last weekend they deployed the patches. They restored all the services for their clients, and they are working together. They strictly cooperate with the clients to deploy all the fixes and restore the services to operate. So basically, this case is the last steps. I guess they are to restore the services on the Kaseya side, but still there is a part of the world of the businesses that are still affected by the encrypted. They have encrypted files and encrypted businesses. So there is like two levels of this case, and this were due to the large scale of the problem, the global scale of the problem. It will take some time to restore the fully functional into full operational state of all the services in all those businesses around the world.
Okay, thank you for the knowledge. I think I have a better understanding despite not getting technology as well as you do. So, simple question: can I protect myself from this? And by protection is 0-1. You're either protected or you're not, right? So
there is no 0-1 answers in the IT world, I guess. So basically, no, you can't have anything like 100% protection. You can't have 100 bug-free or vulnerability-free software or any IT system in the world. There is no such thing like 100% IT system, software, devices, etc. What we can do is to define all the threats, to define the risk for our services, split them into the smaller parts, estimate using risk assessment methodologies and so on, and then try to do everything that we can to minimize the threats and to try to build countermeasures and security features and elements of the whole cybersecurity to be as close as possible to those 100%. But this is the perfect scenario that will never be achievable to get those 100%. So summarizing, we need to do everything to minimize the risk, to be as secure as possible. But we need to be aware of that the security is security is a process, not like a bunch of checklists or features that we need to implement. It is a process to reduce the risk to acceptable level for our businesses.
Okay. Would you like to speak in more, perhaps slightly technical detail about what can be done to protect the assets? You mentioned, for example, policies, but I want give me the pillars. Let's say 3-4 pillars of.
Yeah, a few days ago, I published the few tips how to protect against the ransomware for any attack, breaches, and so on. But those few points that I published is like the very first steps in the whole protecting process and hardening of your IT and infrastructure. So of course, we need to start with such things like, for example, policies about secure password. It is like baseline. We need to do that. Again, we can harden the process and policies with the two-factor authentication. But the whole things with the security is that it is not the last step. Even for this one element like password and authentication authorization processes, it is like first step, and we need to go deeper on any level, on any area. For example, as I said, we need to have the strong enforced password policies and two-factor authentication as a support, as another step of hardening the authorization process. But it is not the end. We need to focus on what kind of 2FA, two-factor authentication methods we are using, because some of them, like using the phone numbers, are already vulnerable, for example, for SIM swapping attack. Not every two-factor authentication method is protecting against the phishing attacks, because the attackers are quite clever, I might say, that, and they are still adopting for the new methods of protection. They are adapting and preparing the another methods of and another attack vectors to bypass the things. So even such, let's say, simple thing like good password policies, two-factor authentication is very complex things, and each step here is like it is just the beginning of the journey for many areas. The best way that is always a good option, not only for ransomware attacks, but in any kind of disaster that may occur during your company, your business lifecycle, is of course backup. You might think it's just a simple thing, but it's definitely not just a simple thing. We need to test backups. It's not so obvious for everyone. We need to prepare good strategies for backup our data. We need to prioritize data and define what kind of data in which time frames need to be backed, and so on and so on. All these things need to be wrapped into the disaster recovery plans, business continuity plans. So again, this is like the starting point. Here you have like short tip how to start, but the journey just starting here, and we need to learn and discover even more and more things for each of these points, and this is not the end yet.
So let me give it back to you in super simple terms. Nod if I'm right, stop me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
High access management, so the password policies, essentially who gets in, it's pretty much like having great security guards, a very high gate before your house. Then you have monitoring and alerting, so you have CCTV cameras everywhere, and if anything is coming, we can react. Raising awareness, so it's not just the people who are the security guards, but also the people living inside the house know that they have to lock their doors, that they have to make sure that no one follows them, and so on. And backups, I don't think there's a metaphor for backups. Backups are just backups. Everybody do your backups and keep them offline sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And lastly, it's important to emphasize everybody's sort of accountability and responsibility in that, because most of the time it is the human, right? The human error that leads somewhere.
Yeah, I would even say that in most cases there is some kind of human factor in there. So you can prepare very well designed software that is really, let's say, imagine the situation that we have this perfect software, but that is 100% bulletproof, which is impossible. But imagine that, and you have the people that operate on this software. If those people are using the same password everywhere and the passwords are leaking, there is no such bulletproof method and gold method to protect against human factors. So what I want to say is, from those points that you mentioned, raising awareness and the educating the people is the I would even say the crucial thing, because the human factor in this whole IT world is most not predictable. It is hard to determine how people will react in different situations. There are emotions. We are just people, so it is. Designing the IT system should be like the whole security feature and security measures should be useful for people, easy to use, transparent as possible. But the awareness of the users, especially nowadays in the internet era, is the crucial. On each level, starting from like business owners, management, developers, testers, and so on, and on the very end stage, the user themselves. All this chain of people that are using and working with the IT should be aware of the risk of the threats.
Okay, so you asked me to imagine something I just did. Now you imagine this. So assumption number one, majority of those mistakes are going to be for a human error reason. Let's say that the ability to social engineer you into giving away your password versus using, I don't know, quantum computing to crack your 64-character password, most of the time it's going to be this, because this just doesn't make sense financially. It takes time, it costs computing power, and it's easier to just use someone.
Yes. Basically, the people is more vulnerable than software. We can say that in simplifying the case, you can I guess say that. Of course, you mentioned very interesting topic about quantum computing and so on and so on. For now, it's not the case, because as you mentioned, it is like a very expensive. It would be very expensive for in the nearest future, but in few years, who knows? Who knows what will happen?
And that's exactly what I want to ask you in a few years, because as systems will grow in scale, as the population increases, as everything just grows in numbers and makes it that more difficult to try to educate every person, because there's going to be more and more people within even specific departments that there are now. I don't think it's sustainable to expect for everybody to have that responsibility. It's great if everybody did, but let's be realistic. Humans are humans.
Of course.
And what I want to ask is your prediction. There's no right or wrong answer here. Is there going to be a future, 3, 5, maybe 10 years, where the cybersecurity systems will be able to protect me from my human foolishness? As in, one scenario is expecting that everybody in the system, constantly growing, will be educated and responsiit The other side is we need to protect people from themselves, because the people are the problem.
Very good question, but it will be hard to
guess.
Guessing in this case is even very complex. So I will not answer. Okay. I will not try to guess, but I think in my opinion, it would be like constant journey. The whole cyber warfare will be like the bad guys and good guys chasing each other and competing with the building best possible software, and the bad guys who will try to break these security features and so on and so on. So for me, it will be like a constant journey, and yeah, probably this will be the best possible answer that I can provide you now.
Okay, I'm rooting for machine learning and AI to protect me from my mistakes in the future.
Yeah, but basically, it works like that. In many systems, they have the machine learning that are protecting, analyzing the traffic and detecting the anomalies and so on and so on. But it is quite expensive still, so probably you don't have such device in your home yet.
Not yet, but especially on an organizational level, if something is expensive, sure, but can you afford to not have this expensive thing and have the problem?
And this is a key point here to define Is it expensive on we can use more money to protect themselves? The right answer here would be to find the balance, and this is the key point in the cybersecurity level, to find the balance between costs and the good enough, let's say, protection level.
So we also have Maciej's post dropped in the comments, everybody watching, so feel free to go to the comments, open it up and have a read. Maciej, there were some interesting points raised under your post. I wanted to ask about 2 or 3.
Sure.
Backup redundancy, overkill or better safe than sorry? The comment said that I would also add that backup redundancy can help. We have 5 sets of backups: full online, offline, on-demand, cloud, and incremental. Each with its pros and cons, better to be safe than sorry. Some say that it's an overkill, but then again, once something happens, no company will say, oh, I regret that I had such good security, right? So their thinking is more layers of defense, plus even redundant backups would make it harder for the hacker to demand ransom, because at the end of the day, it's power play, right? I will pay, perhaps you have my stuff encrypted, but hey, I have it over there. Like I don't need to pay the ransom. I'm safe without.
Yeah, this is the perfect scenario, and it would be very good that you have the situation that you are able to restore all the things from the backups and everything works fine, and that's the case is over. I think, and this I replied for this comment as I remember correctly. We can go even deeper and ask ourselves that if we need to have only backups and backup redundancy, and maybe also we should have the backup of the infrastructure. You have the IT infrastructure, and let's say you have the somewhere hidden in the basement the backup of the all infrastructure that your company is using. Of course, this is the best, probably this is the best possible scenario that you can, switching 2 buttons, revert your company from ashes in a few minutes. But the question is how much I need to pay for such things, for backup redundancy, for anything like even infrastructure redundancy. You can, and it probably will handle the case perfectly, but the cost can also be hard to handle by your company. So everything is basically the question about what I mentioned a few seconds ago, the balance between costs and the risk. So yeah, basically it's all about the balance, the costs with the risks and threats.
I'm the type of person to check my door 20 times before I leave, so I wouldn't think in power. I spend on that policy, spend and enjoy my peaceful sleep. So limit access wherever possible, yes or no? SolarWinds could have been better contained with judicious firewalling of key servers. I won't pretend I know what that means exactly, but you do, so please.
Yeah, basically, imagine this case that you mentioned about entering the home with the great safeguard. You have guards and best possible key locks in your home. The attacker is phishing you, and you are allowing him to enter this very safe gate to your home. Great. So what is protecting the attacker to steal everything from your home? You can split your home to the different rooms, to the different basically rooms, and install in each door different key locks. And in this case, even if attacker will break into your home, you will find another doors to protect other resources, other stuff that you want to protect. So all the things that is important to limit the access to any resources that are more valuable for your company, for your business. So it should be not the case that everything has access to everything. I know that in many cases, transparency is a good way, and we should act in a transparent way. But this is the wrong understanding of transparency. We need to limit access to valuable resources, define the segregation of duties, and mitigate and model all such requirements in the IT ecosystems to prevent spreading inside threats around your company. So Solaris Wind was not prepared so much for this, and the threat spreads around the world, even to such organization like Department of Justice of the US, many more departments in the US, Microsoft, and other big players. So limit the access where possible to limit the spreading the threats inside your company.
I'm really glad that the metaphor of the house managed to work here as well. So one last comment: security teams, how to set up internal, when to use external partners, and audit. The comment said, I would add that any company that has data worth losing should consider having at least a security consultant, if not a role for a security person. But that sounds all good when you're a company with, let's say, a couple hundred people. What's like the MVP when you have data to protect, but you don't have the same guns as the big companies?
Yeah, there are many ways to mitigate that. So as it was mentioned, you can use the internal team, but it's expensive to have such team. For more complex cases, for bigger companies that can afford, I strongly suggest to have such consultants, engineers that are working closely with IT, with operational teams to identify the risk and find the mitigation points to find the methods of protecting and implement this continuously according to the best practices. This is the most, from my perspective, it is the best possible way to implement security in your company. For companies that are small, I guess, or they cannot afford the security in full-time working for them, it is always to hire company, to hire consultants who will prepare the audit, who will analyze this company situation and prepare a report with recommendation how to improve your security, internal security, IT security of entire infrastructure, or for small scope like single software, single feature even. So there's a plenty. There's plenty ways to mitigate that, but always it is worth to invest at least some money to have security consultant, to have some subject matter expert to advise at least how to improve security of your company.
Maybe some off-the-shelf software as a service products recommended by that consultant, so you don't have to have your own infrastructure, but you should try. And one last question here, and it is sort of about cybersecurity, but it's mostly about you. It's from our own Dominika. It's a personal question. You were an Android developer for a few years, and then you decided to go cybersec. What's the story?
Wow. How much time we have?
Take your time.
Basically, I started my journey with cybersecurity during my high school. Then in the college, I've been on the IT studies with the specialization of security of IT systems. Then I started working with Android apps because I started some projects on the university, and then I continued. I started with working with such things, basically on the experience, based on the experiences from the university projects, and then I started working with the Netguru as a senior Android developer, and then I was working for a few fintech companies. For fintech mobile apps and with the fintech ecosystems, and I noticed that there is a great need to implement security and provide flexible security services for such businesses, especially for fintechs that are working closely with the money, working closely with the banks. So I tried to prepare some stuff, some consulting services for those projects, and later on there was more projects, internal consultation during my work here, because Netguru is working on very many projects and from different areas around the world. So there was a lot of cases that required consulting services regarding the cybersecurity, and that's pretty much the story. Currently, I have built the cybersecurity team under the Netguru, and we are providing the services both for internal clients, so Netguru project teams, and commercially for our clients.
Exactly. So, of course, shameless sales plug. If you want to talk about cybersecurity, audit, engineers, reach out to me, reach out to Maciej. Let's make it happen. But
of course,
hey, that was a good answer, because it wasn't, oh no, it just happened. It was an answer of a true calling. You were doing some work, and then you said this work needs to be protected. And so here we are. So really good answer. Thank you so much.
Very condensed, because the story is quite longer, but I tried to,
Feel free to write another post. I hope it's going to be
sure, of course.
So, Maciej and everybody in the audience, thank you for coming today. It's been a lovely 45 minutes, and you won't be able to miss us for too long, because like every Tuesday, next Tuesday, we will be hosting yet another episode of Disruption Talks. So stay tuned. See you next week. And once again, thanks a lot, Maciej, for today.
Thank you, Philip. Bye.
Bye-bye.